NXT is putting on a WrestleMania type card on Tuesday, and we're here to talk about it. What's going on, guys? Andrew here from What's Good in Wrestling. Today we're talking about NXT going up against AEW in what looks like a little bit of a battle here for viewership, and I think that that's fair to say. AEW announced that they're going to be having a title Tuesday. On Tuesday, they moved over from Wednesday for Dynamite, I guess, and NXT is like, you know what? It's going to be Adam Copeland's first match, aka Edge, in AEW. So we're going to compete with it with a like WrestleMania type card. That's the joke that's been going around. I know it's not actually a WrestleMania type card, but they're throwing it out there at AEW. And I can't blame them. If you have the opportunity to put on a card that's going to match up against AEW and you're going to take viewers from them, well, you should probably do it. I've actually been watching the product a little bit more in terms of NXT, and here and there I try to watch AEW as much as I can. And with Adam Copeland going there, of course I'm going to be checking in. I'm a Canadian, he's from Canada. We live about 45 minutes from each other from where he grew up, and I want him to do good. I've always been a fan of Edge, but I've been watching a lot of NXT lately, and they've been putting on some of the best wrestling shows that you probably see in the world of wrestling. But if we're going to talk about it and we're going to go into detail, let's at least talk about some of the things that are going to be happening on NXT, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it because it is quite exciting. It's going to be a really good show, and we get to see a lot of guys that we've never seen on NXT before. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Cody Rhodes, and the American Nightmare is going to be on NXT to make a major announcement. Now, will we see his new tag team partner, one half of the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions main event Jey Uso, come there? Is the Judgment Day going to interrupt and that's going to start a bunch of stuff? I don't know. But a major announcement. This is after already winning the titles. Is he being drafted or traded to SmackDown after the Jey Uso trade to Monday Night Raw, but now they're the champions? There's a lot of different things that could happen, but putting arguably the most over wrestler in the company right now, him and LA Knight are kind of competing for that, but putting that guy on NXT is huge because he's going to be making an announcement that nobody knows about. So you're going to tune in just to see the American Nightmare and see what he has to say. I also want to talk about having Asuka and Roxanne Perez. That is going to be an incredible match because Roxanne Perez has shown a little bit on the main roster and she's competed a little bit there. She's showed how good she is, and in NXT, she's a star. I think she's incredible in the ring. She has some things to work on in terms of like her delivery and promos and stuff like that, but that's just from the bit that I've seen. But her in-ring work and the fact that she is an over babyface, I think that helps her. Asuka's going to come in there. She's going to get a pop because she's Asuka. She's super talented, one of the best female wrestlers in the world, one of the best wrestlers, period, on the planet. And they're going to put on a banger. I'm expecting Roxanne to put on a really good performance, but I think Asuka's going to have a lot of fun returning to her home in NXT with the WWE. And I'm really excited. I'm actually excited for this more than most things that's happening that night. I got to throw in there, I think there's a Pub Rules match that's happening that night as well. I want to check into that, but I think there's some good stuff coming on there with Butch. I think Butch is going to be, he's been working there. I think they're having like a 6-man tag. We'll have to look into that, but I believe that's also going to be happening. There's some sort of Pub Rules match. I believe it's a 6-man tag, but they're putting a lot of good matches on, so why not? And I think the biggest thing that's going to be happening that night is the fact that John Cena and Paul Heyman are going to be involved in the main event of the evening. Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker, the feud that has been huge, and the two that have been saying that they're going to main event WrestleMania together one day. This is a massive match already on its own, having these guys step back into the ring together, and now you're adding the greatest of all time in John Cena and one of the greatest of all time in terms of managers and minds in the game of wrestling in Paul Heyman. This is a genius level idea from the WWE because you have an over babyface in Carmelo Hayes and you pair him with the greatest of all time, John Cena, and then you have a guy like Braun Breaker who people are like, oh, we like this guy, but he's a bad guy, he's a heel, we gotta boo this guy, and you're gonna put him with Paul Heyman, and it kind of made some people think, could Braun Breaker eventually be a Paul Heyman guy? I'd be very, very intrigued to see that. And maybe we'll get a little bit of some teasers on that night. I mean, I'm expecting the match to be amazing, but adding these two into it, you know, you're going to have Cena and Paul Heyman interacting, which is always really cool. Maybe there's some sort of tie-in to Cena eventually, you know, going after Roman Reigns. It's been rumored, but again, Cena might go back to Hollywood. There's so many things that are going to happen. But there's one more thing we got to talk about. Did you hear at the end of the NXT preview the gong go off? Is The Undertaker really about to show up in NXT? I think so. Are we going to get the full-on dead man in NXT? Because, you know, the last time we seen him, he was the American Badass again. He was back to being the American Badass style of The Undertaker. And he said that he would never fully dress up and get in character again as The Undertaker. And I hate saying dress up, but he wouldn't be in that character anymore. But he also said never say never at his Hall of Fame speech. So Shawn Michaels might have one of his greatest rivals and, you know, his favorite dance partner in the ring, because they've had two amazing classics at WrestleMania. He's going to have him in NXT. And, of course, you're probably going to have Shawn Michaels come out there, so why not? Are we going to get Becky Lynch? Are we going to get Triple H? I feel like we're going to see everybody at this NXT, but I'm very excited for this. I'm very, very excited for this, and I want to know what you guys are thinking down below in the comments. So if you're new here and you're excited about wrestling content, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. That's what's good in wrestling. I'm Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video. Get ready for NXT.